What is happening, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Ty, behind the camera, and sitting in front of us is the refreshed 2024 Chevy Trailblazer. And we have a very nicely optioned out RS for us to take a look at today, the sporty trim. We're looking at the cacti green color, which is new for 2024. And we also have a jet black interior. Throughout this video, we're going to take a look at all the features, starting on the exterior, working our way under the hood to see what powers it. We'll then pop the trunk, check out the rear seats, and end up in the front seats. We'll check out all the details in between. But you're going to want to make sure to stay tuned to the end of the video, because I'm going to strap this GoPro to my head, and we're going to see how the updated Trailblazer drives. First things first, let's take a look at the front, where we have a new lighting setup. Up top, we have LED lights for your turn signals and the daytime running lights, which look very nice. And then a little bit lower down segmented, we have the bulb for the high and low beams. Again, LED powered, looks good, all illuminated. Beautiful color, this cacti green. I really like this color on the Trailblazer as well as the tracks. For the RS trim, we have this kind of dark chrome accenting in the middle of the grille, and then some glossy black grille accents in there too, with the RS badge and the blacked out Chevy emblem. Some kind of mimicked carbon fiber trim towards the bottom there with a little lip. Definitely looks pretty sporty from the front. Nice short hood with some creases that go down into the grille, and we have this flat black cladding that goes all the way around the wheels and down the side on the bottom of the doors to protect your green paint from any rock chips. New wheels for the updated tracks too, and these are the wheels you get with the RS. They're actually 19-inch wheels with a machine face and metallic black painted pockets, and we're riding on 245/45 tires. Lots of glossy black looking down the side. We can see all the windows are surrounded in black trim. We have the mirrors, which are painted black, as well as the roof and the roof rails. This particular one does have the full panoramic sunroof, so we'll definitely check that out once we get inside. We have the roof rails, and flipping around to see the other side of the mirror, we do have blind spot warning. We have these little chrome buttons on the two front door handles for your smart key entry, so you just tap the chrome button to lock and unlock. And here's a quick view at the window sticker. Like I said, quite a few packages and options. The sunroof is an option. We have the convenience package, adaptive cruise and sound package, as well as the driver's confidence package. So pretty loaded up vehicle. Just about all the options you can get on a Trailblazer. And we have a sticker price of $34,075. I really like the black painted roof. It kind of contrasts well with the green color. Back here we have the spoiler and a little antenna. The fuel doors on the driver's side, and making our way back here we have brand new taillights. All LED bulbs for the taillights, turn signals, and brake lights. Again, looks pretty good, all illuminated. Mostly black badging back here too, with the Trailblazer all-wheel drive emblem there, and our blacked out Chevy emblem with the RS badge to the other side. Now we do have parking sensors back here, and just below the trunk lip we have a parking camera and your trunk release. And I can't forget to mention, we have some more of that mimicked carbon fiber accents and some pretty good looking chrome exhaust tips. What do we think of the redesign on the Trailblazer? I personally think it's a great looking redesign. You know, same idea as the original Trailblazer that came out just a few years ago, but definitely a modernized touch. Let me know what you think in the comments. Under the hood, we're working with two different engines, with both turbocharged 3-cylinders. The first one to start off is a 1.2 liter turbocharged 3-cylinder. That has 137 horsepower, 162 pound-feet of torque, so not too bad. And that'll come hooked up to a CVT transmission with front-wheel drive. You can also opt for a little bit more power, so we have a 1.3 liter turbocharged 3-cylinder, which is a little bit of an upgrade. That comes with 155 horsepower, 174 pound-feet of torque, so good bump in numbers there. That'll come with either the CVT transmission with front-wheel drive or a 9-speed automatic with all-wheel drive, so you definitely can get all-wheel drive with the Trailblazer, although front-wheel drive will come standard. And we have a nice big turbo script on the top here. Very easy serviceability with the engine oil dipstick and the oil filler, as well as your battery up here. We also have a prop that will hold up the hood, and our hood release is right here, a little bit left of center. Courtesy of the convenience package, we have a powered tailgate on this car. Very nice option to see in this class of vehicle. And once you open up the trunk, we have a huge opening. So you definitely fit some bigger items inside, and a pretty good amount of space for a vehicle of this size back here. We have all nice carpeting back here. You can also fold down the seats at a 60-40 split, and I'll show you how to do that in just a minute. We have anchors even towards the back seats and illumination. Also a couple of storage pockets to either side of the trunk. And if you lift up the cargo floor, we have a spare tire, some storage in there, and the rest of our tools. So pretty nice storage area back here. And to close the trunk on this one, all you need to do is just press the button. So a first glimpse of the interior will be of the rear seats. Let's take a look back here at the door panel. We do have some scratchy materials back here, but you have some pretty nice trim and some chrome door handles, a little bit of storage, and this one actually has the 7-speaker Bose audio system. Pretty soft door rests here, but the real star of the show is just the amount of room we have back here. It is pretty large. As you can see, the panoramic roof continues very nicely in the back. Pretty nice seats too. We have a leatherette seating surface. We have our headrests here, which you can actually fold down to get extra visibility out the back. And right here is our switch to fold down the rear seats. As you can see, it'll match the cargo area floor, and you have plenty of room to expand the cargo area. So let's hop in and see how much room we have back here now. I am about 5'10", and I did adjust the front seat to a normal and comfortable driving position for myself. And take a look at that. Pretty good amount of legroom. I'd say about 2 inches back here. Pretty flat floor back here, and it is pretty roomy, I should say, width-wise. So you can definitely fit a third person back here for shorter trips. And we also have some goodies back here as far as charging goes. We have a 3-prong outlet, a USB-C, and a normal USB outlet, so that's pretty neat. Cool thing about the Trailblazer, it still has the fold flat front seat, so you can either use it as a leg rest or even a larger extension of the storage area. So that's definitely a pretty cool feature about the Trailblazer. Back here we also have an armrest which you could fold down with some cup holders. And it's a pretty nice place to be back here, especially with this one option with the panoramic roof. Up where the driver is, we have a nicer selection of materials. So up here is now a softer to the touch. So if you like you're resting your elbow up there, you certainly can. And we also have this pretty neat cloth material that goes across the door panel with red stitching. Also some more red kind of painted accents and some metallic black accents too. Our chrome door handle that we saw out back, our lock on lock there. All of our mirror adjustments and rear window lockout for the children is right there, and of course our window switches. And we also have this little toggle here for our power trunk lid, so we can adjust it to open a max way, a 3/4 way, or just turn the power trunk lid off. We can see the front speakers are branded with the Bose logo, and we have quite a bit of storage on the driver's door. These air vents look pretty neat in the car, all accented in red. We have more cloth and stitching materials up here too. And that brings me over here to our lighting controls. So we have all of our regular headlights, as well as our gauge dimmer, little storage pocket over here, and the hood release. And you can also see the tilt telescoping steering wheel lever right there. So you just pull that down, release it, and you can adjust your steering wheel all around. We have our pedals down here, nice carpets, and some very, very nice seats. Great attention to detail up front here with the RS stitched in the headrest. We have more red stitching and some cloth material on the inside and some perforated leatherette. Definitely some pretty comfy seats too, and they are fully powered with the driver's seat. So we have all of our normal adjustments plus two-way lumbar. Really a pretty attractive looking interior for the new Trailblazer. I like the double screen setup, and the design of the air vents definitely makes this interior a little bit more upscale than the previous years. Here is the key. It's a more traditional Chevy key fob, but we do have lock, unlock, remote start, trunk release, and the panic alarm. Chevy emblem on the back, and we also have a release for a physical key in case you need that. We do have push button start right behind the steering wheel. You just tap that, and it'll start right up. Nice looking steering wheel for the RS2. It definitely gets dressed up a little bit for the more sporty RS trim. We have perforated leather on the steering wheel and kind of smooth leather up top, and this glossy kind of gray trim at the bottom with the gray Chevy emblem. Over here we have all of our cruise control settings, our front collision warning settings, as well as a heated steering wheel. We also have our voice commands, Bluetooth phone controls, and some adjustments for our digital gauge cluster. To the left of the dash we have our turn signals, automatic high beams, and on the other side we have our front and rear wipers. And that'll bring us up to the new gauge cluster screen, which you will see in a few different Chevy models such as the Colorado and the new Trax. So definitely a pretty attractive looking gauge cluster. A couple of adjustments here on the steering wheel where you could pull up your audio and phone settings within the screen too. And there's also a couple of things where you could bring from this screen over to the gauge cluster. But at a first glance, we can see we have the large tachometer and the speedometer right in the center. We have a compass over here, all of our warning labels up top. We have also a following distance indicator, which is there. Our coolant temperature right over here, and right below it, our odometer. On the other side, we have our fuel gauge with the distance till empty, as well as our kind of two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, what kind of mode we're in for that, and also what gear we're in right next to it. So, pretty nice updated screen there, and the upper dash is pretty nice too, relatively soft to the touch, and that brings me down to the new infotainment display. Again, very similar to what you would see in the new Trax and the new Colorado. We do have a volume knob over here, and this is kind of your home screen. Lots of shortcuts to the side over here, and we have our Android Auto, Apple CarPlay apps. You can also pull up your climate control, as you can see, adjust the temperature, fan speed, where the air blows, and also have some AC settings. We have our home button right over here. We can get into our settings as well, so there's a bunch of different settings you can go through, system, vehicle, and then app settings as well. Going back home, we can also get some information on our Wi-Fi hotspot that this car has. We have our audio screen right over here, which looks pretty nice once you have something playing. Kind of what's playing is right in the center. All your different tune and presets are at the bottom. We also have a phone screen, vehicle information screen as well, so we have our different trip computers over here. We also have our battery voltage and coolant temperatures, and those two you can kind of send over to this screen if you'd like. And then we also have some maintenance reminders and things like that in this one here: tire pressures, oil life, engine air filter life, so that's pretty neat. And that pretty much does it for the screen. Pretty simple operation, but definitely very attractive looking. Just below we have a couple of air vents and our hazards right there. And of course we do have a full array of climate controls, so you don't ever really need to go into the screen to get climate controls like some cars. Your full array is right down here. We have our temperature with this knob, and within that we have an automatic and an AC button. And this knob over here houses your fan speed, as well as the recirculating air for the air conditioning. We have a total on-off button, and we also have heated seats for this car for the front driver and passenger. This is where your air blows, and this is your current temperature that you have it set at as well. And then we also have our defrosters down there, so definitely nice to see that they didn't totally get rid of climate controls, physical climate controls that is, for the Trailblazer. Down here we have a nice storage pad with a wireless charging area for your phone. We have a 12-volt power outlet, USB-C and regular USB inlet. And we have this pretty cool trim down here with this kind of like netting material. Let's talk about our shifter first, because there's a couple of buttons that are hiding behind the shifter. So of course this is the shifter, a little bit dressed up for the RS trim with the badging there and the stitching. If we pop it into reverse, we get a nice backup camera that pops up with guidance lines. And then we of course have neutral, drive, and then also a low mode in case you're trying to get up some hills, and your car's all packed up with people and things like that. Or it's also for going down hills, just to keep the RPMs high and put less wear on your brakes. And there's also a plus minus, so you could shift manually. We have our electronic parking brake right over here, and your cup holders with a little phone holder. And let me get the shifter out of the way once more, because we do have an array of buttons right here. Now you can turn on and off your auto start stop, your lane keeping assist, your traction control, and then we can also put it into a sporty mode, and also lock it into all-wheel drive if you'd like. We have a little storage tray over here which is open, and then we also have a larger one which is closed up. Now we do have a tray which you can remove, and there is lots and lots of storage in there. It goes in pretty deep. Passenger area, I think design-wise, is where it's at. We have lots of red accenting, some of that gloss black, and that pretty stylish cloth with stitching. Opening up our glove box, we have a ton of room. Full black headliner on this car, and if we fold down our visors, you can see we have a mirror and light. Bunch of controls up here for illumination. Also tap lights up here. We have our OnStar SOS buttons, as well as our passenger airbag status. And over here are our sunroof and sunshade controls. So once we put the sunshade back, we have a nice airy feel. And then once it's all the way back, we can start opening up our sunroof by either venting or sliding it back. So now it's all the way open. We have a nice airy feel in this car. Definitely makes this interior feel a little bit larger than it actually is. And we also have an auto-dimming rear view mirror up there. That pretty much does it for all the features on the Trailblazer. Definitely a really nice loaded up one that we got to take a look at today. But let's get it out on the road and see how it drives. Alright, setting off in the Trailblazer. Now just as a refresher, we do have the 1.3 liter turbocharged 3-cylinder under the hood, so the larger of the two engines, 155 horsepower, 177 pound-feet of torque. So pretty good numbers from a smaller engine, and don't be put off by you know, hearing that it's a 3-cylinder, because it really does have a good amount of power, even low down in the torque range. That's what the turbocharger is for, to give you quite a nice boost of power with a smaller engine, and also get you better fuel economy too. So throughout this test drive, we're going to take it up through this neighborhood here. We'll also hop onto a back road. We'll see what it's like there, and then we'll also get onto more of a 2-lane highway. So we'll get up to some higher speeds, see what it's like up there as well. As soon as we get through these people cleaning up their yard in the middle of the street. It is that time of year, I guess, the end of fall. You never know what we're going to encounter on these test drives. It is a one take, so. Anyways, back to the car. And at the end of the video, we are going to get an acceleration test, so we'll pop it into sport mode, and we'll see what we can get done as far as a 0 to 60 test. I have to say, first impressions when I drove this, when I drove a Trailblazer for the first time, I was pretty impressed with this little engine. It's definitely the little engine that could. It's actually very quiet and very smooth. We have the 9-speed automatic which shifts fast enough, and it's also very smooth. The CVT, the same thing, it doesn't really shift, which means it's very smooth and responsive with that 1.2 liter 3-cylinder. So yeah, so up at 45 miles an hour, sound levels are pretty good too. Comfort is definitely a huge plus in this car. It definitely has a pretty comfort-oriented suspension. Even with these larger wheels, it seems to handle the bumps just fine. But road noise is pretty minimal. You do get a little bit of noise from the tires, but there isn't a whole lot of wind noise, and you really can't hear the oncoming cars going past, so that's definitely a good thing. This steering wheel is also nice to hold in your hands. It's a very small wheel, which means it's definitely maneuverable if you have tight turns or anything, and it's also just a comfy grip right here where my hands are at the 9 and 3 grips. The seats too are also pretty darn comfortable, at least from the time that I've been driving it, which granted isn't very long, but you can kind of get a pretty good idea on how the seats are going to feel by driving it around for a little while, and that is pretty comfy. Now this stoplight here, we have a pretty tight turn coming up, so I guess we'll get a kind of turning radius test right after this light turns green. I suppose I could do a right on red here. There aren't any signs, but turning radius is pretty good. Definitely a smaller wheelbase on the car, so gets around the corners no problem. This would be a great city vehicle. Okay, so here we are at our top secret and secluded location where we'll do our acceleration test. I have it in sport mode, and all we're going to do is just mash the throttle and see how fast we can go. And we'll follow up with a quick brake test, and it's not too bad. These 3-cylinder does a pretty good job at getting us up to speed, although you can definitely tell it's a lower RPM engine. That's where it makes its most power. It does tend to die off a little bit around 4,000 RPMs, but it does just fine getting us up to speed. And the sport mode does sharpen up our throttle response, and it also stiffens up the steering feel a little bit too, and the brakes feel pretty good as well. So that'll be a wrap for this test drive and features review. I hope you stick with us here at Tide Drives for the next one.